Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have to do that.
Hi, ladies. We are here at my house recording this video for you. I thought it would be fun. This is my sister-in-law, Raquel Bolanos.
Now Bolanos, yes.
Yes, she used to be Alonzo Bolanos. Now she's Bolanos. And she is my BFF. She is my sister-in-law. She is my neighbor. And she's an English teacher and a recent grad from FAU.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
With her master's degree in English. So we're just like two peas in a pod. Anyways.
Besties.
Anyways, we're here because she has a lot of background in postmodern theory, and one especially she's an expert in, which is Kristeva, Julia Kristeva.
Mm-hmm.
And she recently wrote her thesis. What's the title of your thesis?
Of my thesis?
Yeah, your thesis.
Oh, it's long. Ready, girls? It's called Authority and Privilege. Exploring the role of the intellectual and the subaltern in the novels of Julia Alvarez, which I'm sure a lot of you have read.
Awesome. So it's exploring the role of the intellectual and the subaltern?
The relationship between the intellectual figure, which would be someone who's privileged, and like you girls, you know, the access to the education and everything that you've had, and subaltern figures, which are figures that in some way, shape, or form have been oppressed due to race, gender, sexuality, anything like that.
Okay, so that actually brings me to one of my first questions, because today we're going to see a few clips of Black Swan, and when you watched Black Swan, you happened to notice that there were some connections, right? It's hard for me to be serious right now, sorry. But you noticed some connections between Kristeva and what you have learned about Kristeva's theory and Black Swan. In other words, it illuminated Black Swan for you.
Right, absolutely.
So, could you tell us a little bit first about Kristeva's theory in layman's terms, because it is complex, but if you could at least maybe talk to us about what specifically within her theory could help us better understand Black Swan.
Absolutely. Okay, girls. It's a very abstract theory. So what I want to do with you guys first is, well, I'm going to refer to my notes because there's a lot to talk about, and if we want to kind of condense this, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is what the term abject or abjection really means for Kristeva. It's Julia Kristeva. She writes an amazing book. It's actually an essay, really. It's called The Powers of Horror. It's an essay on abjection. Okay, so what the abject is, or how it relates to us. It's very useful, I think, in our case to consider how that translates to our world right now. So anything that's considered abject would be, and I have a list that I actually wrote.
Good.
Religious. So I'm gonna list them, okay, and I'll do it slowly. So if they want to take notes, but religious abhorrence is one, okay, and I'll explain what these things are. Incest, women's bodies, ironically, human sacrifice, bodily waste. Vomit is the classic example of the abject. Human sacrifice, I said, death, cannibalism, murder, decay, perversion. These are all aspects of humanity that are considered abject. Okay. So it's really anything that is not accepted in the norm for our purposes today.
Anything that's perverse?
I'm sorry?
Anything perverse?
Would be abject. Anything that we consider in our normal day-to-day society as perverse would be considered abject. Okay. So a prime example too is hair. Hair on our heads is not abject. Hair, I mean, how many of you, I'm sure, have seen, what's that movie that we saw one time that was really freaky? Remember the one with the weird girl walking down the stairs? Do you remember that? With the ring.
Oh, the ring, yeah.
Okay, so you know that the hair in that case on something ghostly, that's abject. Or hair falling out, of someone who's young like us. That is not normal. That's abject. And
keep talking. My dog is being
you
annoying.
go ahead. All right,
I'll
so
be right
girls,
back.
it's all us. Let's see. So, okay, so with Kristeva, this is how it's gonna work. Oh, you just want to close the door?
Yeah.
Okay. With Kristeva, abjection begins at birth. It actually begins with the mother and the relationship the baby has perhaps with the mother. Okay, so that's the first state of abjection, or rather the rejection of the mother, okay, is our first experience with abjection. Okay, so what does that mean? That means essentially, I'm going to use two terms. I'm going to use the term object and subject. Okay, object meaning if I'm considering someone an object, that means someone who is not knowledgeable, who's not entered language. In other words, someone who just has a baby, has no understanding of meaning because he's trying to explore what meaning is, what our language is. And meaning is found within language, and so he doesn't have that right now, so he's very much dependent on the mother. So what happens in this case is the child, the object in this case, must first reject anything maternal before the object can become a subject, meaning a full functioning, productive member of our global society. Okay? Mm-hmm. Before they have the ability to do anything that we would consider normal in our day-to-day life. Okay? I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. How I saw that in the movie, so we can kind of wrap up, and then Mrs. Cadenas can show you the clips. How I saw that operating in Black Swan, and then you guys can have a discussion on it, whether you agree or disagree, is that Natalie Portman, who plays the role of Nina, is undergoing a transformation or transition. For Kristeva, that's what it's about. Abjection and the state of abjection, you'll find that the characters are undergoing some kind of transformation, which if you've seen the movie already, you know what that transformation is. She's trying to make the transformation from like this prima ballerina, pure, innocent, young white swan to the evil, quote unquote evil, and I'll talk about that later, to this evil, dark, sexually awakened black swan. So
this sounds really cool. I haven't seen the movie yet, girls. So the plan is that we're doing this now,
pizza
and then we'll have pizza in a movie.
Oh, I have to go here because I was getting cut off.
Okay.
So let's see what else. Okay, so one image I think you can show them, or one scene perhaps, is in the very beginning, the setting, right? Natalie Portman plays, I don't know how old she would be in the movie, maybe 18, definitely above 18, I'd say. Okay, mm-hmm. She's an adult, a young adult, perhaps a little younger than I am, right? So what does she do in the movie? She is living with her mother, okay? Her room, they really emphasize, the film emphasizes her setting, okay?
Yeah, the girls mentioned that the room is really significant.
The room is extremely significant. There's stuffed animals everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's extremely pink, so it's extremely feminine, really glaring. It's very difficult to ignore. So that's the first thing, right? And she's very much dependent on her mother, and her mother is loving the fact that she is basically, the mother's existence is validated by the dependence that Nina has on her. And that's part of Kristeva's theory too, is that in essence, again, there's a few things that I'm leaving out, but in essence, that rejection must take place in order for the child, the object, to become a subject. So in other words, in essence, my argument is that Nina must reject everything having to do with the maternal, which she struggles with in her journey to do that, in order for her to become the black swan, which she does achieve at the end.
Now, the rejection of the object rejecting the maternal, does it matter if the object is masculine or feminine? Is gender an issue there?
What she's rejecting?
No, if the object, the baby, the child, if the child, does it matter whether the child is masculine or feminine?
No, not for Kristeva.
Oh.
In other words, every object, in order to become a subject, must reject the mother.
Okay.
And the common form, the most basic, archaic form of maternal rejection is a rejection of the milk, of the breast milk.
Wow.
It becomes repugnant to the child. It itself becomes abject. And
perverse. Yeah.
And it's perverse, exactly. And so you'll see instances of vomiting in the film, which I also picked up as a sign of, or a transformation rather, that she's undergoing state of abjection. Again, this whole idea that she has to reject things. And one of the scenes also that I recommend that she show you is the one where, and I hope I'm not giving anything away, there is one scene where she, minimal, where the mother is feeding her something, and she really doesn't want to take it, and then she decides that, well, she ends up succumbing to the mother and saying, okay, yes, I'll take it, right? But her first initial reaction, especially when she's starting to make this transformation, is that she doesn't want to take it. So she must reject her in order to become what she does at the end. And then for those of you that already saw the movie and know what happened after she becomes what she becomes, I can give Mrs. Cadenas my insight on that later, and then you guys can discuss, the significance of the ending and how it ends.
Okay, that's awesome. And I asked that, and we're going to wrap it up here, but I asked about whether the masculine or the feminine is important when it comes to the object and the object rejecting, because we're reading a book right now called White Noise, where the mother has said that she doesn't want her son to grow up. She has a little baby, and she doesn't want the son to grow up. And the son is playing this really interesting role. We've talked about how we don't really know how old he is, but he's clearly a baby, a toddler, maybe just a little bit older. He doesn't really talk. He cries a lot, and he depends a lot on the mother, and the mother relies on that dependency. Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting to consider this theory in reference to White Noise too. So all right, well, I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
So
and I had no makeup, and I was in my pajamas for you.
They just saw my skull and crossbone pajama pants.
You should have seen what I was gonna wear before this, but I was like, no, it's a video. I have to be proper. I was like not matching. I had red Mickey Mouse pants, so I was like, I have to match lip curls. See, look. Wait, no, you can't see.
No, we can tell. We can
my
tell
Tahoe
she's matching.
Oh, okay. No, that's not bad. I'm just kidding. I'm hungry.
All right. Well, this was fun, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we're gonna go watch the movie now, and we'll talk.
Maybe we'll do a post video. Maybe.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.